Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is the terrible trio of hosts bringing some opinions and dropping the news on your ear hole, or for our YouTube viewers, for your eye hole, or whatever other orifice you choose to consume your podcast. We're not going to judge you here.
Bam.
Damn. Anyway, Two Noobs Talking, episode 134. Episode 134. Can't believe we made it this far. Over there.
Okay.
In that corner, we have the jackanape John Tracy weighing in at undisclosed pounds from the great state of Texas. And in that corner, we have magical Matt Craig weighing in at other undisclosed amount from the magical state of Pennsylvania. In the middle,
you go.
Your special guest referee, Steve Murray, and I'm just itching to issue some flagrant twos and get some ejections, people kicked out of here. So let's get this thing started. John, how's it going?
Hi. It's going. I got nothing.
That's what we like to hear. Matt with the jiggly phlegm, how's it going there?
Oh yeah, it's definitely jiggling out there, and I cannot wait for it to leave. Pollen sucks. The end. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, doing well, Steve. Doing well.
Awesome. Very good. Well, as we like to do here on Two Noobs, we go to the over 40 rant and the fun fact, which I forgot to ask if John had it ready. So while I see if he's got it ready, I'll plug W Energy Drinks. DUBBY.GG. Visit them. Pick your favorite flavor for an energy drink. Enter the promo code Two Noobs Talking. It's TOO as in also. Noobs, NOOB, not NUB, talking, and get 10% off your order. John, did I buy you enough time to come up with a fun fact?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a fun fact. It's a very interesting one that literally popped up as you were asking that question. In some parts of Texas, it's illegal to curse in front of a dead person.
In some parts, not the entire state.
Some parts, not the entire state, only some parts.
What some parts are there? That would be my question. Are we talking Badlands?
It doesn't say. It just says some parts. I mean, I guess it's where enforced. That's what I would think.
There you go.
I'd like to know which parts of Texas are concerned about offending dead people.
Probably Austin, Texas, for sure. That probably be one.
Well, definitely. Austin sucks. So
Dallas. It might be Dallas. Another one. San Marcos. Maybe. I don't know.
No, we're good people.
Johnny, have you offended dead people by shouting obscenities at them? Or
I try not to offend anybody. So
there you go. No, you never offend anybody.
Unless you're a shitty politician, then I'll offend you every day.
Well, listen, gentlemen, this is the good news. We don't owe anybody $787 million for defamation. So,
hell no.
We don't.
That's true.
Here. All right, so we're gonna slide into topic one here. A Salt Lake City Tribune article. Utah Tech CEO praises worker who ditched the family dog to return to the office. And this is in reference to Clearlink boss James Clark, who I shall refer to for the rest of the segment as CEO Douche. In fact, this could be our Douche of the Year segment.
There you go.
According to the article, while many Utah businesses navigate the tricky post-COVID task of returning employees to an office setting, some are handling it with delicacy and due consideration. Then there's Clearlink. Just a few months after assuring remote employees there was no plan to require staff to return to in-person work, more on that in a minute, CEO Douche held a town hall meeting where he said everyone within a 50-mile radius of the Draper headquarters would have to be in the office 4 days a week. It impacts about 1/3 of the workforce, which is now spread across the country. But he didn't stop there. No, CEO Douche disparaged a lazy, checked-out workforce, downplayed concerns of parents given a short time to line up childcare, suggesting it is unfair for employees to split the workday between parenting and professional duties, praised an employee who gave up the family dog so she could return to the office, and offered anyone who didn't like the new direction $5,000 to walk away. Some in the shell-shocked workforce were left in tears. An unknown number of the demoralized workforce took him up on the offer to walk out. Uh, One employee said that my feeling, and a lot of others, was this was specifically designed to get people so frustrated that they'd quit, and then they wouldn't have to lay them off. He's trying to make us quit because that would solve some of his problems. I get layoffs are hard, but at least they're honest. Matt, you are a perpetual opponent of return to work, remote work, excuse me. But I know from pre-production, you do have some strong feelings that CEO Douche may not be handling this in the proper manner.
Yeah, 100%, Steve. Yeah, I think this is a classic example of not reading the room rightly. And it seems to be evident now in some of these CEOs when trying to, let's just say, motivate their employees to want to return to work in the work office. I think that's been the biggest issue that the CEOs have attempted, and they are spectacularly failing in this immensely. The ability to not read a room seems to go higher up the chain. Like, it seems to, like, as you go from like low-level common sense workers, grunt workers that are in it every single day, they know what's going on, they're in the lifeblood of the business, right? The higher up the chain you go, the more dense you don't know what the room is all about. You don't have a sense of what your workers are going through right now. And this really bothers me in the fact that when you're attempting to run an organization, you have to communicate it in a way, you have to communicate your thoughts and feelings in a way that takes everybody's thoughts and feelings under consideration. And I think the way this CEO handled it was the worst I've ever seen, quite honestly. And I've seen some pretty bad ones over the course of my lifetime. Some of them not even cut out to be leaders. And it's scary that some of these are leaders. And I don't know the whole like background culture of Clearlink. For what I saw at Glassdoor, it was pretty much a mediocre 2.5 star company. We looked that up in pre-production, right, guys, over pre-production week. And it besets a culture, and that to me is like, you got to work on your culture first before you make a decision like that, to be honest with you. I'll just leave it at that.
Just part of the article that I just read seems to hint at a big problem that a lot of places are having, and John and I were having this conversation before you got on. My firm, pre-COVID, we were pretty centralized around our Philadelphia and Delaware offices. Since COVID and remote work, we've got people working in Connecticut. We've got people working in North Carolina. Our footprint has expanded. And one of the things we struggled with about returning to work was, well, how can we force people who live near an office to come to an office, but the people in North Carolina, Connecticut don't have to do it because it's obviously a burden for them to get to Philadelphia from there or Delaware.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it sounds like this douche was kind of in the same position.
Yeah.
It's a third of the workforce is affected by the return to work. That means 2/3 live more than 50 miles away from this office. How is that fair to the 33% people you're forcing back in? John, what do you
It isn't at all. He just taking from what you said and what he did, it's the same situation. Matt's absolutely right. The dude couldn't read the room. He had no idea what he was doing. And on top of that, it was probably a little underhanded. He probably figured he could get rid of that 1/3 and use that money to expand more. And that was probably what that's what it sounded like. That one employee was reading him better than he was reading the company. Like, we know exactly what he was doing. We were fixing his problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve, you made a point in pre-production that I forget a lot. This has been going on for over 3 years.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured it out by now,
you
are destined to lose no one's going to want to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to lose
Because
good people.
most of the country is open at this point, other than,
Mhm.
and they're either working from home or they're working in the office. Most of the country is back to pre 2019 when it wasn't, forced. Like they're in the flow of traffic is in all cities is heavier than it was the last couple years. So it's moving again. The world is moving again, and these guys are like, oh well, I'm still trying to figure out if these 3, 4, 5 people need to do this. Like, they're completely behind the times at this point.
It really speaks to the lack of intelligence, and maybe not lack of intelligence. That's maybe a little too strong. I would say leadership. Leadership is probably the biggest issue here, and the fact that when you have now a workforce, I mean, I was even reading, I think we even saw like another part of the article, maybe not this one that Steve's referencing, but the other one was like, well, these remote workers, they haven't even opened their laptop in a month. And I'm thinking, really?
Yeah.
What data do you
That's
have?
ridiculous.
Right?
That's
I mean, what
ridiculous.
data do you have
It's
that shows
ridiculous.
that they haven't? And if they're still on your payroll after a month, I think it's safe to assume you get rid of them. You don't let them hang around for 3 years, to be perfectly honest. I mean, come on. Read the room. Read the temperature of the room.
Obviously, that there are people who are going to try to slide through that way. I mean, that's inevitable just because of the general population. But you're right.
They would do that in an office setting.
Exactly.
Right.
They're the people. They're the people. If you're not constantly patrolling around, they're going to be on their phone instead of actually doing their job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So it's incumbent upon you to recognize that they are the slackers and to boot them from your workforce, not to punish everybody because one or two people who you may or may not have data on. But it gets better, guys. During the course of CEO Douche's lecture, he seemed to tear up when he spoke of an employee who put her family dog up for adoption because of the return to work mandate, saying it broke his heart because he had been at the head of the humanization of pets movement.
Oh my.
One employee said, I was blown away and honestly insulted. It's just so awful, and I'm just blown away that he would use that as an example of someone who is making a good sacrifice for the team. That's just disgusting to me. CEO Douche answered just one of the dozens of questions employees had submitted, dismissing the rest of them as, quote, litter and, quote, nonsense.
Wow.
And near the end, and this is the real kicker here. Near the end of the discussion, he had a special message for single mothers who had tried to balance caring for children and working from home.
Wait for it.
While I know you're doing your best, some would say they have even mastered this art, but one could also argue that generally this path is neither fair to your employer nor fair to those children. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, but I do believe that only the rarest of full-time caregivers can be a productive and full-time employee at the same time. John.
I was just going to say the 1950s called. They want their CEO back.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you worked for a douche like this. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of this take on single mothers? Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's, if you have that take, this is just for generally everybody listen. If that's your take on life, please just go away. Society does not want to deal with you. It's not. I'm sorry to be the gatekeeper for society, but trust me, they don't. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm just telling you, they don't want to deal with you. Just go the other way. Go out in the wilderness and find a tree or something, because you're an idiot. I'm probably and I've on this podcast been against the animals at work policy that some CEO had the one time.
I was going to say, you are our resident dog hater here. So,
yes. But to use that, this dude is $3 short of $3. He doesn't, he gets nothing. Why would you, when you speak in front of people, you take time and you read some notes. Like, that was your final note that you're like, I'm going to go with this one. Sally Mae gave up her dog, and that's like A1 in the company. Like, and then I'm going to use that, and I'm going to go right into how single moms suck and they're ruining the workforce. Like, that was his notes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, or
that
to
was
tear
his
up
notes in the town hall.
or to tear up at the same time, when someone had to basically ditch the family dog in order to come back to the workforce. My, oh my. This guy is just very immature and emotional, to be able to go from one extreme to
Emotionally
another like that.
Immature. Yeah. Emotionally immature, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And and I think about this, guys, you guys have been both, privileged, I guess you could say, to know my father, being the National Guard
Oh, absolutely.
head and everything like that, the adjutant general of the state of Pennsylvania back in the day. And, he will tell you flat out that, leadership really takes a lot of humility, a lot of responsibility, obviously weighing on that shoulders, and you've got to balance everything in that regard. And the moment you become more humble, the more you understand reading the room, the more you understand what's going to happen, right, at the end of the day. And I think that Steve's point in the article was really spot on. This was a layoff. This was a planned layoff. And instead of saying the hard facts of saying like, okay, I need to cut 10% of my workforce. These are the 10% that I need to get rid of, that kind of a deal. He decided to go down the route of giving his employees the option to come back into the building.
No,
and
not
if
the
you
option. Not the option.
Or forcing them,
forced.
right? Forcing them. But that's the thing. It was almost like
After
it was
3
a
years.
forced option. You had to go into the building, otherwise you're getting $5,000 and you're out of there. I mean, you want to talk about poor leadership. I mean, there's no humility there. That is a sense of all of a sudden you've got to make a decision and a choice. No, I get it. It's very difficult to be in a position like that. You're looking at all this information, but for God's sakes, be a human being. Please, for the love of God, be human, be humble, understand where things are coming from. If you're more authentic than this piece of crap, you're in a much better position if you're more authentic and you present yourself that way, as opposed to this guy who's giving you crocodile tears, essentially, over what was a letting go of the family dog. Really. I mean, the sarcasm level for me would be off the charts with this guy if I was working there.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. And I think the worst part was when he decided to go full James Harden and dick slap the single mothers in the company. That's just...
Yes.
Yes. He needs to be out of there, frankly.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that don't work properly, we are moving on to topic 2. Yahoo article here. States and towns consider banning gas-powered leaf blowers and lawn mowers. Where have I heard this?
Oh my.
In the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of residents in the affluent New York City suburb of Westfield, New Jersey, discovered that being home all day had an unexpected drawback: the constant roar of leaf blowers. It became much more apparent to people who were attempting to work from home or attend school from home that there was this irritation in the environment constantly, Westfield resident Lois Krause told Yahoo News.
That's awesome.
Settle down.
Sorry.
By November 2020, when fall leaf season had peaked, some of them had had enough. Krause joined forces with a resident of Montclair, another leafy New Jersey town, to co-found Advocates for Transforming Landscaping in New Jersey, with the mission of getting state residents to adopt more sustainable landscaping practices. They are part of a decentralized nationwide movement that has seen more than 100 local governments, including 4 towns in New Jersey and DC, enact at least partial bans on gas-powered leaf blower use in recent years. However, these efforts are geared toward replacing gas-powered lawn equipment such as mowers, leaf blowers, chainsaws, edge trimmers, and weed whackers with electric models, which are quieter but not noise-free. rather than banning leaf blowers altogether. Gas blowers run from 80 to 90 decibels versus 59 to 70 decibels for electric blowers, according to the website Leaf Score. John, it's awfully fishy to me that we're trying to save the environment after we have the noise irritation that occurred during COVID-19, which I can attest existed. My neighbor mowed his grass constantly. I agree.
There you go. There you go.
But are we really saving the environment, or are we just first world problems? We don't want to hear a leaf blower going all day.
First world problems and buying more batteries from China. So why don't we just do that? Because that's where they get mines. You know, I'm sure that it wants with the American flags telling you they're going to make America great again. It's, I mean, that's just facts right there. Like, there's not a feeling in that at all. That's all facts. It's a noise problem to them because they're home and they have to hear it now. They weren't worried about that when they were in the office, and they didn't hear their landscaper do their property because they aren't doing it by themselves. Trust me. Yeah, and they're gonna switch to 90 decibels, 70 decibels. That's, I work outside. That might be highway to busy 2-lane street. That might be the difference. You're not really noticing it.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the electric is going to be a more high-powered whine, like.
Yeah, and it's also going to be a longer process because that battery is going to die. You got to change the battery out to blow the leaves 5 feet instead of just taking gas-powered one, those massive ones that those landscapers use, and that's like whoosh, and then it's done.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because the article does say that the most vocal opposition is coming from companies that provide lawn maintenance, which say electric lawn equipment is expensive, weaker, and requires constant charging that will slow down their jobs.
No question.
Some also raise questions about the environmental, labor, and human rights implications of mining for minerals used in batteries, such as cobalt. According to Todd Bradbury,
not happening, Steve.
According to Todd Bradbury, the owner of a landscaping business in New Jersey, it seems like we're rushing it. It's not that hard to see switching to electric in weed whackers, edge trimmers, and possibly chainsaws. You can use it in a chainsaw for trimming, but if you're cutting up large logs, you're not going to get as far with the battery-powered equipment with where we're at right now. Exactly. And the same goes for leaf blowers. Gail Wolcott, executive director of the New Jersey Landscape Contractors Association, says most electric equipment is comparable to gas in terms of power, but when it comes to leaf blowers, electric has not caught up to gas when it comes to the force of the blower as well as the runtime.
Yeah.
The average electric lawnmower, for example, lasts for just an hour before needing to be recharged. That may be plenty of time for the typical homeowner tending to their own lawn, but not for a company that mows constantly through an 8-hour workday.
Yeah.
One can purchase extra batteries and swap them in throughout the day, but landscapers say that's a costly requirement. A contractor would have to purchase a battery charger and 9 batteries to get through peak leaf season, Wolcott said. Lawnmower batteries typically cost between $100 and $300 and last 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
Her group supports a bill in the state assembly that would provide rebates for the purchase of electric lawn tools, but it opposes another bill that would ban the use of gas-powered tools in 3 years. Matt, that sounds a lot more sensible to me, doesn't it to you?
Agreed. Yeah, I totally agree with that. In that regard, Steve. Yeah, for sure. But this all comes back to convenience. Or inconvenience because, you're sick and tired of listening to a lawn mower or a lawn blower, for these landscaping companies. And I get it. I mean, living in the condominiums here, we do have a service that actually does do the lawn cutting and the lawn blow, and they are loud. They are, no question, they're loud, but they only last for about a half an hour. So it's worth the effort and it's worth the inconvenience to just suck it up, Buttercup, and let them do their job and let them finish what they have to finish, in order to, and then you can move on and have your peace and quiet and your first world problems fully resolved. Sorry, sweetheart. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't understand. That's the thing that really is getting me with this whole thing, this mad push to electric power. We are not understanding the full ramifications of this, as opposed to being used or using gas powered, vehicles and things along those lines to get our work done. Basically, we're not understanding this. We're just headlong going right into it, thinking like this will save the environment, not realizing that there's so much cobalt that needs to be pulled up out of the ground, which is very and highly dangerous, by the way. No one talks about that. Everybody talks about, oh, we got to save the environment. Here's my new cobalt, powered, leaf blower that doesn't blow anything at all. Come on. Let's think through this before we go diving into all of this stuff. I'm all for rebates and all that kind of stuff. Incrementally, let's think incrementally before we dive in to this pool, before we hit our head, at 5 feet, diving in. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't personally get it at all.
John, to me, it seems like a perception problem, because you can see a lawnmower spewing exhaust. You can hear, it. You can see smokestacks with big plumes of junk going up into the air. You don't see a lithium battery sitting and leaking toxic things into the ground after it's done being used. You're in the industry, am I right?
It's a non-seen thing. You're absolutely right. It's easier to go after something that you're not seeing the environmental problem and say, oh, well, this is our solution because I don't know about this environment problem, but I know about this environmental problem. My thing is, look at how long it took the cordless screwdriver with the batteries. Look how long it took them to become industry standard.
Yeah.
For contractors and stuff. Because remember, they used to plug it in, drills, screwdrivers, they would use that, and then they started using air stuff, blah, 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 and you're not going to see someone framing a house like, let me just go down and get my $50 Craftsman from Lowe's, and I'm going to put up 17 houses with this thing. That thing's going to be on fire at the end of that. And it's like, I'm all for Bob having the latest and greatest lawnmower and leaf blower, and he's electric. I've got my screwdriver and it fits with but to force it on an industry is stupid, because it doesn't make any sense. You don't understand the ramifications of large groups of people using that kind of energy on top of the laptops they're using, on top of the laptops everybody else is using, cell phones. It's all done by the same thing, and it's all going into the landfill.
Another thing,
you're just adding to the landfill.
Yeah, I was just going to say another thing too, to the life cycle. We don't know what the life cycle is, meaning from purchase to when you get rid of this. We have no idea how long it takes and where this shit is going. Essentially, like when this thing finally dies out, and it will die out, because that cobalt battery is not going to last forever. What happens to it after that point? How are they disposing of all of this? What is the actual life cycle of all of this? Instead, it's a full press. We got to get this out really, really quickly. Not even thinking about the ramifications, to your point, with the industry standards and all that kind of stuff, with all that kind of, it took a little bit of time for this to kind of get up and running, and especially now,
you can get a gas-powered lawnmower or leaf blower to work well for like 20 years.
Yes.
You could have a piece of equipment that long easily. Once your battery dies out, I think earlier in the article it said 3 to 5 years these things last.
Yeah.
Typically. By the time your battery dies, they may not be making batteries that fit, because they make these things now, these packs that conform kind of design wise to appear like a piece of your equipment.
Yeah.
They may not make the battery that fits. It's not like, D cells that are just you're popping into a compartment. They make them special form factors.
Yeah.
By the time your battery is dead, they may not make the form factor that fits your device anymore, and you may end up having to buy a whole new leaf blower because you can't get a battery for it anymore.
Yeah.
It happened to me twice with cordless screwdrivers. My battery finally died on my Roby And guess what? They don't make that model anymore. That model doesn't exist anymore. That model's now slimmer, and that battery, I can't. That battery doesn't fit in there like at all. So I went to another one. I went to a Craftsman. Same thing.
Wow.
The battery dies, and this is just because you got to charge it. You do have to charge your batteries a ton. My
Yeah.
last point to this: we're already lazy as a society. Let's just put that out on the table.
Oh, we're definitely decadent. No
It rains
question.
a lot in Seattle. You're gonna leave your electric lawnmower out because you don't put your gasoline one away, and that damages it. What are you gonna all of a sudden become a perfect human being? And I'm gonna build a shed. I'm gonna keep this in there. That's just lying to everybody. Like everybody's tools aren't treated very well in this country, and that's gonna lower your battery life too.
I think this all just comes back to what we talked about with like electric vehicles, which is, yes, it's probably a worthwhile goal to get to that point where we can rely exclusively on electric vehicles, where we can rely exclusively on electric lawnmowers and leaf blowers. But you got to let the technology and the science get to that point. We can't force it through legislation. And I think this Ms. Wolcott gets there. Just to close out the article here, she says her landscapers organization supports the long-term switch to electric equipment. It's just a question of phasing it in more gradually, she said, so owners of gas equipment can wait until the end of its natural lifespan to buy electric replacements. She also wants to see some of the environmental concerns around batteries addressed, the risk of fire from overheating, and the fact that New Jersey has no program for recycling batteries.
Amazing.
Before a mandate kicks in.
Wow. Well,
don't you think before starting this noise ordinance, I'm gonna take away all the gasoline stuff? You would have done that research?
You would think.
That's like me and Matt starting a podcast and going, neither of us own a microphone, but we're gonna start this thing anyway.
We've ushered in the era of silent podcasts.
That's exactly what that is. You didn't look that up?
Yeah.
that New Jersey has. Why not start the recycling program and then steal everybody's gasoline things away from them?
Here's a thought, too. You could also invest in noise-canceling headphones. They cost about $200, and you could just buy them from Best
Look,
Buy.
they're nice. They fit his bald head very well.
There you go.
Yeah, but just last point. I think they had it right earlier where they said, why not do like special rebates or discounts for people who buy and use the equipment?
Yeah.
Why are we going to force people? Incentivize them. Don't force. It's so much easier to do it that way.
Please do that. Please do that.
Well, gentlemen, from the impractical to the impractical. One for the weird file, as Matt likes to say. Gizmodo article. This square-wheeled bicycle works like a pedal-powered tank. And if you don't believe us, we have video proof. The article does have a video embedded in it, and we've got it playing down there below for your viewing amusement.
Yeah.
But as the article says, even our ancient ancestors managed to figure out that to comfortably get from point A to point B without walking, you needed wheels that were perfectly round. I don't know about perfectly, but there you have it.
Roundish.
Exactly.
And yet the determined engineers behind the YouTube channel The Q managed to build a bicycle with square wheels that rolls as comfortably as a bike with round ones. I'm going to take issue with that characterization because I don't know if that's comfortable. We can discuss.
There you go.
But vehicles with non-circular wheels aren't entirely a new idea. Years ago, the Mythbusters upgraded a pickup truck with square wheels, resulting in an incredibly uncomfortable ride on smooth surfaces, even with the angles of each wheel offset from the others. That is my son's absolute favorite episode of Mythbusters, and I do get a kick out of that. If you haven't seen that, they take a pickup truck. they put square. It's not hubcaps. What's the part that goes?
What is it?
The actual wheel. What is it?
Yeah, the actual rotor or something like that. Not the rotor, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like the actual tire
the metal,
itself.
the metal,
yeah, the metal
piece, and then
Yes.
they put a tire around it, which had to conform to the square. And it was.
It's easily one of my top 5 all-time episodes ever of that show. I mean, it was just absolutely hilarious as well, trying to figure this out. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But this square-wheeled bicycle takes a little different angle here with a clever approach to the problem. And again, can be comfortably ridden almost anywhere. The square wheels themselves don't roll at all in this model, but their rubber tires have been sliced up and paired with 4 sets of bike chains to create a continuous tread that rolls around the outside of each wheel. It's essentially a pedal-powered tank with the bottom edge of each wheel quietly gliding along the pavement as it's ridden. You can clearly see that in the video. It's very tank-like in its treadness. With an abrupt 90-degree angle on the wheel at the front of the bike, we're going to assume it doesn't have the same rough terrain tackling prowess as a real tank. And the custom pedal system doesn't look like it will do the rider any favors when trying to climb a hill, but for all intents and purposes, this is a square-wheeled bike that's actually rideable. John, would you buy this?
Oh, absolutely. If I lived in the city of Philadelphia and I commuted only 2 minutes to work like I used to on a bike, and I never had to worry about any kind of terrain because I lived right down in the city, right off of Girard, where it was a straight shot. I barely pedaled to get to work. I would have to pedal a little bit more with this one, of course. And I don't know how they would do with trolley tracks. We'd have to see. Maybe better than circle wheels. We don't know. But yeah, absolutely. Like for a street rider, I could see how you could put a basket on it. You could do you might be able to go to the laundromat. You might be able to go to the grocery store. Might be able to do 2 at a time. And that it's a little hard to do some of that on a bike. That could be a total city cruiser type flat area. I think it's awesome. It's not good for San Francisco, I have a feeling.
Yeah, take that thing up Lombard Street. Good luck.
Downhill, it might be interesting.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Uphill, I don't think it works very well.
Exactly.
Although, actually, that does beg the question, since the wheels themselves aren't spinning, how do the brakes work?
Yeah.
On that?
See?
I don't know. Matt, you bought a Roomba. Would you buy one of these?
I will say this. I would probably give it a test drive for sure, or a test pedal, I guess you could say. But I think to your points, gentlemen, pedaling this thing up a hill where I live in the hills of King of Prussia, this thing ain't working. And I am not pedaling. I'm getting that off. I'm definitely getting off of that thing and acting like I'm pedaling going up a hill, that kind of a deal. But I mean, it's an ingenious way to look at it, and that kind of a deal. I think it's just so freaking cool to see a square wheel actually, and acting as if it's like and it is a tank, going from one, going across and it looks almost incredibly smooth, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to pedal this thing up a hill. Absolutely not. Up or down a hill.
You'd have to have some massive thighs. That's absolutely for sure.
No question.
Even on flat ground, I'm thinking you probably need to. John, what was your analogy here?
Yeah,
to pedaling this thing?
It looked like when you get on one of those bikes at the gym and you're like, you do the crank or the press the button to like 16, and then you're going to get a really good thigh workout in. That's what it felt. I imagined it when I saw him get only a half up in a 30-minute video. What did he go, like 3 inches?
Feet,
like
maybe?
He really didn't go that far. Like a couple of those blocks on a city, he like got like over 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
He didn't go very far.
My main question for this is just why?
And it's probably the most valid question that we have in this article.
it
Like
would
I said,
seem
I
to
could-
me. Go ahead.
I could see it as a city cruiser, as a hey, look at me, I got the cool latest thing. I live within 15 minutes of everything I need. It fits in that kind of model of everything. It does not fit in practical life anywhere else, though.
Yeah.
So basically, the type of people who would buy this bicycle are the ones who like to show off their tech equipment.
Yes,
much.
or live in a 15-minute city
Yeah.
where they
Well,
can
yeah, but
where they
here's-
do all their stuff.
But here's my point. Here's my point. Okay, it would seem to me, in the 3,000 years, the last 3,000 years or
True.
more, I don't know how long the wheel has been around. I
Mhm.
would think we have pretty much perfected the wheel.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
I don't think there's any improvement that needs to be made in that arena. I don't think this particular bicycle design provides any significant advantage over your standard bicycle wheel. If you live within 15 minutes of everything on flat terrain, a regular old bike with round wheels, normal people wheels, will get you where you need to
Would
go.
tot- yeah,
I
would
don't
totally
think
do-
this
Totally
square-
agree with that. Yeah.
I don't think this square-wheeled bike gets you any advantage over that, other than, hey, I'm a douche, look at me.
I don't think there is. I don't think we can find one advantage at all. But what I'm saying is, it's the only place that it could exist. Because it
Oh,
can exist
oh,
on
for
a,
sure.
It can't
Yeah.
exist in a hilly neighborhood. It can exist. It can exist in other countries that don't have roads, because that has no off-road capability, as they were saying in the article. Like, it's not
Yeah.
even close to having. It has to be like on concrete or asphalt. Like,
Yeah, and it has to be a smooth asphalt. It can't have
Very,
like, any sort of
yeah.
potholes
Could you
or anything like that.
imagine-
Yeah,
could you imagine riding that
Try-
on Girard Avenue? It
I
would
was
be
going to
bumpy.
say, even try to ride that in Old City, Philadelphia, or any
Oh,
sort of
God.
cobblestone area.
Well, the cobblestones, yeah.
So we also kind of talked about it too, guys, thinking about it, like how much would, if it went for a going rate out in the market, right? Like what do you think what the price would be? We did take a look, with some of it with Dick's Sporting Goods, with some normal bicycles, and they were ranging anywhere really between $300 and $500, roughly speaking, right? So I'm going to pose that question to you guys. How much do you think, if that were on the market, what would be the retail price of that square-wheeled bicycle? If we were on there, what do you think?
I would say you're adding at least $150 to whatever the standard model
Yeah.
price would be, just
Okay.
because it's so much easier to just take a wheel mounted on basically on a screw,
Inflate the tires, whatever. Yep.
inflate the tire, and just go, as opposed to you got to have these treads that are
Yep.
cut and sized appropriately, and you got to have the mechanism to spin them on both the front. Well, I guess I think we were looking at the video. I think
It's the back only.
the
Yeah.
motive is back only, so it's like
Yeah.
a normal bike. The front is just, it goes as the back moves.
Free wheel. Yeah. Free
Yeah.
wheel. Yeah.
Rear wheel drive, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
But you need that mechanism to get it moving, and I just see that the price to look like a douche would be $150 premium.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe even more, because you're talking 2 chains. You're talking extra sprockets.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It
Could be
didn't
like
seem like
250.
it was a very interesting system that they have. The drive is definitely inventive. I've never seen a bike with that kind of setup, but that's what makes me feel like it's like grinding just to
Yeah.
get going. Like,
just to get it started.
or when we
yeah.
were a kid, when we used to have to run to start our bikes because we didn't have the leg power to start our bikes sitting on it. Like, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it though? I mean, it bugs me that we got guys inventing a square-wheeled bicycle. They
Yes.
could be working on improving the efficiency of a electric leaf blower,
Yes.
so that you can actually get the same kind of blowing power.
Maybe this is what they're doing in their part time.
I hope so. I hope so.
You never know. Oh my.
And we move to topic 4 and let the double entendres commence.
Oh my.
Get your George Takei, oh my. Get ready. Because we've got some doozies here.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
This was all John's idea.
That's
He
a
may
lie.
try to pass this off as it was me, but he came up with this completely on his own.
And I want to say, just for the lawyers of Two Noobs Talking, I have absolutely nothing to do with this at all.
That's all a lie. We were all involved. After we saw the debauchery of this, we all
really
jumped in
bad.
and said we need to show everybody.
Well, yes, I think as a public service announcement, we need to make people aware that if you're going to design a logo for your company,
Oh, please. Yes.
please be very diligent and careful with how you do it.
Please.
Because the results can be disastrous. And so John is in the middle to explain this very bizarre tournament that we have going on here today at Two Noobs. John, speak.
Yes. So we have compiled 8 of the some gross, some just bad, some
Yeah.
terribly misspaced, some that we
Yeah.
don't understand government agencies, and some sexual innuendos. And a satellite dish that looks like he took too much Viagra. So we are going to
Oh,
we,
boy.
we're going to pose these pictures to Steve and Matt, and they will pick the winner, which is the least offensive one, and then
Right.
the loser, the one that they do
Loser.
not pick, will move on because it's the dreck of society, and we want to hash out to be the worst of the worst and
Yep.
shame them at the end
This
of
is
the
this is the toilet bowl. This is the
Yes.
toilet bowl.
Yeah,
It's a
of
losers
advertising.
tournament. Yeah.
Yep.
Losers
Yes.
tournament only. Yep.
So get it started. We'll go over to Steve, and we're gonna
Oh,
go. We're gonna go with the good one. We're gonna go with satellite dish with too much Viagra, taking on weird dental patient procedure.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
And as you guys can see on the screen, this is interesting.
So the dental one, it seems to me all it would take would be a couple additional lines, and this could have
Yeah.
been fixed.
Yeah.
Put a,
Yeah, a chair
put a
maybe.
chair in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the chair obscures the lower half of the dentist peering in the mouth there.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
And you'd figure dentists are smart; they could immediately see the problem.
You think.
It boggles my mind that there are people out there who have jobs in logo design
Yes.
who, we look at this and we immediately see the problem,
Yeah.
and somehow they didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make
And
any
this,
sense.
and this probably got through like 3
Or
layers
they
of
grieve when they're
bureaucracy.
thinking, oh yeah, it's no problem.
I
no
would
problem
think.
at all.
I would think.
Yeah.
This
Oh my
got through
gosh.
3 layers of bureaucracy. So at least 3 people probably looked at this and was like, "Yep, approved."
Oh,
Stamp.
good. Yeah. Oh,
The
my.
satellite dish one, the look on the satellite dish's face
Yeah.
gives me an impression that there was some sort of intention behind this one.
I would hope it would be intention because
I think he may be intentionally naughty here. Just he's just a little too happy.
Hmm.
And so
So of the two,
of the two, I'm gonna. So the loser moves on.
the loser
Yes.
moves on here. Yeah.
I'm going to have the satellite be the winner
Okay.
because again, I think there was an intent behind that.
Okay.
I could see where you could screw up a satellite dish in this
Mhm.
way, but
Mhm.
again, the face just gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
And somebody was, messing around. The
Yeah.
dental one looks like somebody actually tried and
So dental is moving on.
There you go.
Okay,
All
so
right.
for Matt, here we're gonna go. We're gonna go with. We know you're a stickler for from good type, and you write very well. We're gonna go with massage the rapist
Oh my.
because
If you're gonna do it, you got to do it in the Sean Connery voice. The
Yeah.
massage the rapist for $600, Alex.
And
That's therapist.
when I saw this, I'm like, dude, you couldn't have.
Yeah.
You knew your letter size. You couldn't just draw the square and make sure that it all stayed in. So
Yeah.
that one is going against the one that you sent us, Matt. Bad air.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Again, to Steve's point with the satellite dish, bad air seems intentional.
I would tend to agree with you, Johnny. Just what you said, you're right. I mean, it does look like there is definite intent. Whereas you look at the massage, the rapist, it doesn't look like there was intent. There was an actual mistake that was made, that kind of a deal, but it still went through. It still like got the green light.
Well, the weird, creepy hand at the top doesn't help it.
No.
I also just noticed that, and I don't think the space in between the and rapist had much to do with it, but the therapist underneath is also kind of off-centered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they didn't do a very good job with alignment at all with this thing.
No.
Both are offensive. Both are, for sure. The bad
absolutely.
air one, though, you can laugh at because like that's hilarious, right? So I think in that regard, it's less offensive than the massage, the massage therapist sign. So I'm going to go bad air wins, but massage therapist will move on.
So massage moves on. Got it.
Yeah.
Put that up there. As
Both
the
are
winner.
bad. Oh my gosh, they're horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right, so
This list is
Steve.
bad.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So Steve, let's go to Kids Exchange, and we'll throw that up on the screen so you guys can see what's wrong with it, because I don't even want to
Is
say
that
it.
really what it says?
Yes, I don't want to say it.
Oh,
And that's
man.
gonna go one-on-one with the juniors jazz dance classes.
Oh wow. Oh gosh.
Let's take this in reverse. So, once again, you have somebody who, I just have two beautiful people dancing in my logo. Did they not take a step back from the sign and realize, oh crap, I've got a nipple or two?
Definitely two.
Whoops.
And maybe somebody did this on purpose and snuck it by the
Yeah.
PR people. I
could
don't
see
know.
this. I could see this as what people have accused Disney of animators having a little fun and doing things in the background. I could brush this off. I'm not offended by it. I find it hilarious, but I'm not offended by it in any way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I don't even know what to say in that regard. I mean, there are so many different angles you could take that. In that regard.
I used to work in the bowling industry, and I'd have to hang things a lot because you were always changing plaques and all that.
Well, you guys had one of those signs, didn't you? Like outside with the letters.
You did signs outside. So I had to deal with a lot of. I have to put this there, right? So I maybe I'm different than the rest of the world, but I used to have to take a step back and look at it and go, well, maybe Scott Long and Dick Unger shouldn't be next to each other for their plaques. Right? Maybe you put somebody in between them, right?
Right.
I don't know if that ever happened, but that's like this Kids Exchange. You take a step back and you go, I might want to change that.
Yeah.
I mean, even just putting aside the clear and obvious problem, you it's all one word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way it's presented, like
Yep.
Mhm.
just from purely a grammatical perspective,
Yeah.
put some space between your words.
Please, for God's
But
sakes. Yeah.
the fact that it is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So clearly, the jazz dance is somehow less offensive.
Which is
And wins this
hilarious.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
All
The
right, Matt. So
last of this group, right, Johnny? Yeah.
you've got
Oh,
the
boy.
A style. Look at this one. This one. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
versus.
a
Yeah.
it move the circles. One on top. Like you just move the circles and it's not an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's one.
Yeah,
Here's
I
the
mean-
one now that's coming up on the screen. The American Pediatric Center.
Oh,
This is a failure on all levels.
so many levels. Yeah. Both are really bad. The one that gets me is with the A style. There's a reserve component to it. Do you notice that in the upper right corner of the logo?
Yep.
There's an R with a circle. Stephen
Oh,
patent law.
That's if it's what I think it is.
It's a reserved logo, right?
No, no, that would be a registered trademark.
So that's a registered
Wow.
trademark.
But when I zoom in on it, I can't tell if it's a registered trademark R or if it's a P with like a no
Okay.
symbol.
Okay.
Because
No, it's an R. It's an R on my phone. Yeah. Straight R.
but
with
look
a circle.
real close at it.
Yeah, real close. It looks like there's a P with a line through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
Oh, okay.
it's entirely
'cause it
possible,
has
Matt,
that,
and I
yeah.
didn't pick up on that could be a registered trademark symbol.
Yeah, which is really bizarre. If that's the case.
Yeah, I'm interested. I
but the-
just seeing that at the top.
all right. So of the two, gosh.
I know which
is-
one I think is more offensive, but
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
I'll let you
leaning
go. It's your
pediatric
bracket.
is probably a little bit more offensive, I think. It's a type. It's a
I'm
type one.
highly offended by the American Pediatric Center. This is your logo.
Yeah.
Like this is offensive in so many levels.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the one with the A style is probably one that, you could probably just ditch that second dot below.
Or it could have
and,
been a joke, and maybe half the people that look at it don't get it.
Yeah, it could be a European trademark. I don't know, that kind of a deal, and they're always weird over there. So
it did take me a little bit longer, like a split second longer,
Yeah.
to see what was going on with that one.
Yeah,
For sure.
We were
So I think I'm
definitely
gonna go
highly
pediatric
offended
to move
by the
on.
band.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the American Pediatric Center, Johnny, to move on in that
Yeah,
regard.
you scoundrels, you should move on.
Again,
All right.
doctors, they ought to know better.
You
Yeah, that's
think?
what I'm saying. I'm hoping. Okay, so we got to Steve, we got Massage the Rapist going up against the Kid Exchange one that I won't say.
Yeah.
But as you can see with the logo up there, what it actually says.
Oh God. So you got a theme here, both misapplied spacing.
Yes.
Word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark here.
Yep. What offends you more? That's the thing. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, probably the kid one, because I keep reading the massage one as Sean Connery on Celebrity
Yes.
Jeopardy.
It's
Celebrity Jeopardy?
actually funny. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you make that spacing mistake, but
Yeah.
you sure blew it.
Or grammar issue, because you have a grammar issue too.
Yeah,
right,
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But the kid one, just you're tying kids in with something that shouldn't be tied in, and it's just a mess of trouble.
No doubt.
So yeah, that one's got to move on. And Massage the Rapist wins the bracket.
Get out of
All
here.
right.
So Matt, you have
Johnny?
American Pediatric Center, blah,
Oh boy.
going up
Versus the
against
dental one, right?
Weird Dental Clinic.
So you've got the medical theme going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Both bad.
You have the
both
failure of the
horrible.
medical community.
I almost feel like either one could move on and be really the champion logo. I guess you could say that, but I mean, I look at that American Pediatric Center and I'm just like, no, this is not working.
Yes.
The dental one is like, okay, it goes back to what, the AIDS style was. It was like, okay, ha ha ha. They could have made changes to it, obviously, to make it a little bit better. The American Pediatric Center is like,
Yeah, you can't fix that.
Nope.
you gotta like scrap it. You really do.
Yes.
You have to scrap it. It's so offensive. I mean, yeah. So that's
Alright.
moving on. That definitely is moving on for sure.
All right, so we have American Pediatric Center taking on Kids Exchange.
For
And I
the
say
toilet
that-
bowl
I
champion
say that
here.
very loosely.
Yeah. Yeah. So are we voting all three of us on this, I guess, right?
Sure, go ahead. Send the text.
Send the text then in? Okay.
All right.
All right, Johnny just sent mine in.
I sent mine.
There you go.
Waiting on
Those
Verizon
those
to do
logos
its
were
job.
pretty bad. I mean, they
They
definitely
were
need marketing
awful.
specialists. Like they just need to, man alive. All of them were
And
bad.
contact us at twonoobstalking@gmail.com. We'll definitely put a logo out there far better than that.
No question about it. Yeah.
I'd hate to see how much these companies were charged by
Yeah.
someone to come up with this.
Yeah, my gosh.
I have
Well,
got
I shouldn't say that. The
nothing
kids
yet, so
one-
it's Phil.
the kids one, it's not a design issue so much as just spacing the words.
Yeah.
But the ones that are illustrations are like, you probably paid somebody thousands of dollars to come up with this, and you didn't see the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you don't at least take a step back and say, okay, does this look good? And does this really capture everything about our brand? And it's like, oh my gosh. Oh,
All right, I finally got the text in here. Oh,
right.
geez, this puts me in a place.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I
I'm
hate
shocked.
both of these equally too.
Yes. So
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
with
I
the
think
kids. I'm gonna go with the Kids Exchange with Matt.
okay.
Wow.
And we're gonna blow that logo up immediately because you should. I might be able to defend the pediatric center just
Yeah.
by, hey, if you move that back like an inch, it wouldn't look as bad.
No,
But-
no, and I'll tell you why.
Please do.
Because
Please.
the guy is arching his midsection
Yeah.
towards the kid,
Yeah.
and like you move him back, he's still presenting. Okay. And basically grabbing the kid by the head and looks like he's pulling him in that direction. The only way to fix this would be to straighten the guy out,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
maybe move the arm a little lower to, like it's on the shoulder or something.
Yeah, it definitely
But
should not be holding the head.
It should not be holding the head, and he should not be leaning the way he is leaning.
The way that he's leaning.
Not at all.
And
exactly.
the fact that this is pediatric, like doctors, it just makes it that much more worse in my opinion.
I have no disagreement with you at all. We should
I
probably
couldn't-
blow
yeah,
that logo
agreed.
up on the screen too.
Yeah.
Kids Exchange.
Yeah,
Let's
Both are bad.
Yeah, these
This
are
is one of those
these are-
tournaments where we hope the bus crashes on the way and both teams
Yes,
die.
absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh,
Do better,
All right,
logo
well, that-
people.
yeah, exactly. That's our champion of the bad logos.
No, it's not a
Man, that
champion.
is a
Man,
definite flush down the toilet.
Yeah, it's the one that gets flushed down the toilet. There is no champion in this tournament.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, Well, that thankfully does it for episode 134. There's no flushing us down the toilet.
Hell no.
We'll be back
We could
next
visit our
week with-
website.
We could visit our website. John,
Yeah.
give me
You
the
could
website
visit our
address. I don't think
website.
you've done that.
Yeah. It's twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. You get the audio, you get links to 4 audios and our YouTube with the show notes, a little bio about ourselves, and hopefully we're going to add some more stuff after I get back from my excursion that I go on in the next couple of weeks. We're going to add a couple more things to you have more clickable things and you can find more stuff about us. But we're working on that. But twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. It's
Nice.
linked in all our socials. It's linked on every social media account. We're easily found. We're Googleable and we're also easily found. So if you find us in one place, just click some things and you'll find us in other places.
There you go.
And John's going to make sure each of those logos is presented front and center on the website.
Yes. It is not going to be. It's not going to be looking like Kids Exchange or American
No.
Pediatric Center. I don't do work like that. If you want work like that, talk to Joe Biden because I don't do shit.
You know what? I'm thinking of taking on maybe trying to fix those logos. Maybe a
That would
future
be
episode,
hilarious.
I will
would be
bring these
great.
to you in a fixed manner. And we'll
There
see.
you go.
I would love that.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, that does it for episode 134. Sadly, John will not be with us for episode 135, or so he says.
I will not. I will not.
Okay. All right. So fair enough. So next week, you're just going to have to listen to me and Matt rattle on. Hopefully, there will be no double entendres or anything of the kind.
No. Oh my.
No.
And no fist fighting.
No. We'll be cordial.
Well,
Sort
we are both in PA, so you know.
Yeah, I know. It could happen.
It could.
Like what? Hey, like Rocky and Apollo said, ding ding. Let's do it.
There you go.
Let's do it. Well, until next week, friends, we'll see you later. Don't visit Kids Exchange.
Don't do that. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to us here at Two Noobs Talking. If you want more of Two Noobs on social media, we're here for you. You can find us by searching Two Noobs Talking on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another great episode to you next week. Take care.